Looking back now, I realize how quickly 30 years of marriage can slip away. I'm 45 years old, and 3 years ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life. My husband and I got together when we were both 15, high school sweethearts. We weren't each other's first loves, but we built a strong relationship that lasted 3 decades. I truly thought we were happy. Sure, my husband had his moments when life got overwhelming, and he'd get frustrated, but he was always open about his feelings. If something bothered him, he'd tell me directly. I was the same way. We both had tempers, but we always worked through our issues. We had 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy. I stayed home to raise them while my husband worked long hours, usually 50-hour weeks at a construction company. Even with his tiring schedule, he always helped around the house. Every weekend, he'd let me sleep in, and I'd wake up to a clean house and breakfast ready. The problems began when our older kids went off to college. Our youngest was in middle school and didn't need me hovering anymore. I felt lost, like I didn't have a purpose anymore. My husband noticed and suggested I get a job. Now, I wish I'd just taken up gardening or joined a book club instead. I got a job as a customer service rep at a local insurance company. After 20 years at home, it felt great to work again. That's where I met Raven and Jade, 2 co-workers in their mid-20s who took me under their wing. My husband encouraged me to spend time with them since I didn't have many female friends, and I'd always told him to hang out with his work buddies. So it seemed fair. But Raven and Jade started putting ideas in my head. They'd say I could do better than my husband. They'd point out younger guys at work and tell me I was wasting my best years with someone who didn't appreciate me. Their friend Trevor, who worked in accounting, would join us for lunch and call my husband weak and past his prime. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I started believing them. I began seeing my husband differently. When he tried to be affectionate, I'd push him away. I made cruel comments about his weight. He noticed something was wrong and asked me about it, but I told him he was imagining things. Then Trevor made his move. He was my age, fit, and exciting compared to my usual routine. We started meeting in secret, and I felt young and desired again. During that time, I treated my husband terribly, lying, making excuses, and avoiding him. I didn't recognize myself anymore. One night, everything fell apart at dinner. My husband crushed his water glass in his hand when he noticed something on my neck. I'll never forget the look in his eyes. Pure hatred. Our son ran upstairs crying. When my husband came back from getting stitches at urgent care, he simply said he wanted a divorce. I had never heard him use such harsh words before. All I could do was cry while our children watched from the staircase, their eyes filled with disgust. My husband moved to an apartment across town. Trevor started coming to our house uninvited, even though I told him not to. This made my kids furious. The first time my husband came to pick up our son, Trevor tried to act tough. My husband just smiled and said, "Not yet, but soon." When they left, I yelled at Trevor for being disrespectful, but he turned it around on me, blaming me instead. That's when things started to change with Trevor. He began controlling what I ate and what I wore. He made cruel comments when we were alone. I accepted it all, thinking I deserved it. The divorce was straightforward. We split everything 50-50, and I kept the house but had to make payments to him for his share. Our son chose to live with my husband, and my older daughters completely stopped talking to me. I only found out my middle daughter was engaged when my husband mentioned it casually. Watching him sign the divorce papers broke something in me. When he placed his wedding ring on the papers, I felt like I couldn't breathe. That's when I realized I had never properly apologized to him. I just sat there, staring at the ring, finally understanding how badly I had messed everything up. I had destroyed my family for nothing. A week after the divorce, Trevor hit me for the first time. It happened because I accidentally knocked his phone over. When Trevor slapped me, I broke down and called my ex-husband in tears. All he asked was, did he touch the kids? When I said no, he hung up. Over the next 2 months, Trevor's behavior got worse. I convinced myself I deserved it. In 30 years, my ex-husband had never raised a hand to me, but now I was accepting abuse as punishment for my mistakes. It all stopped when Trevor hit my youngest daughter, who was home from college for summer break. She was the only one of my kids still living with me. The others stayed with their dad. She called her father, and he came to the house immediately. My ex walked in, offered Trevor a free shot at him, and then beat him unconscious. I had to beg him to stop. He asked our daughter which hand Trevor had used to hit her, and when she told him, he stomped on that hand, breaking it. Then, he dragged Trevor to the hospital and told them he had fallen down the stairs. Trevor quit his job and left town the next day. I tried to move on, kept working, and then found out my ex-husband was sleeping with some of my single friends, including Raven, the same woman who had encouraged me to cheat. Raven kept crying to me, complaining that he wouldn't call her back. I knew he was doing it to hurt me. I tried dating again, but nothing worked. Being a single mom of four scared most men off, and none of them could compare to my ex-husband. Not even Trevor. It made me question everything. I realized I had been truly happy before, but I let people manipulate me into ruining my marriage. The house became so quiet. My son either stayed locked in his room or spent time at his dad's. My daughters, except for my youngest, wouldn't speak to me. It hurt so much. Then, my ex-husband called a family meeting. Having all my kids under one roof again made me happy, even though most of them didn't want to be there. During the meeting, when our son called me a terrible name, my ex-husband slapped him. "Have I ever called your mother that?" he demanded. Our son shook his head. "She's your mother. She loves you. You will respect her. What happened between us has nothing to do with you." After that, things slowly improved with the kids. 2 years after the divorce, my ex and I became friendly again. He'd come over to fix things around the house, and we'd talk about the kids and laugh sometimes. One day, I tried to kiss him, but he pushed me away and simply said, "No," before leaving. A month later, he started dating my son's math teacher. She's 12 years younger than us, beautiful, and they share many interests. It hurt to see him look at her the way he used to look at me, to see him make her laugh and give her all his attention. That's when I finally understood why everyone used to tell me how lucky I was to have him. I had a breakdown when I heard they were getting married and expecting twins. I woke up in the hospital to find him sitting beside me, brushing the hair from my face as I begged for his forgiveness. He just listened silently. He visited me every day, only leaving to check on his fiancée. She even came to see me herself. His new wife checks on me often, talks with me, and makes sure I'm okay. I want to hate her, but I can't. She's too good of a person. Their twin boys are beautiful, and my ex still comes around to make sure I'm eating. He tells me that no matter what happened, I'll always be the mother of his children. He's still there for me as a friend. Last weekend, he came over, let me sleep in, and clean the house while making breakfast just like old times. I broke down crying. I miss him so much. I miss my husband, my best friend. I still don't understand how I let myself be manipulated so easily. My kids are here now, but things aren't the same. The one person I want most has moved on, and I'm the reason why. Maybe someday I'll move on too, but right now, I know I deserve this loneliness. My therapist says time heals all wounds, but some scars stay to remind us of our mistakes. I'm learning to live with mine. My youngest daughter has been my rock through all of this. She understood me when no one else did and kept me going when I thought about giving up. The company eventually promoted me to manager. I ended up firing Raven and the others who helped destroy my marriage. His new wife tells me I need to forgive myself someday, but watching him build the life we should have had makes that hard right now. Some nights, I lie awake, wondering if the woman who threw everything away was really me. I had everything I ever wanted, and I let toxic people convince me it wasn't enough. They say you don't know what you have until it's gone, but I knew what I had. I just never thought I'd be the one to destroy it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the subscribe button to help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. If you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.